And what happens is, I agree with you with the Constitution, and, I'm not really into that capital letters and stuff. I'm someone that, I believe in the power of the people, and I believe in regaining the power underneath the Constitution. I wish Canada had a real Constitution. We have nothing more than an Act of Parliament, which is just a piece of paper. But we have to remember, during the Bush administration, he actually came out and stated one time that the U.S. Constitution is a G.D. damn piece of paper, and at the same time, as a lot of policies that he put forth, directives and other things, memos, secret memos, he actually took apart an awful lot of the different amendments, the right to search and seizure, the Fifth Amendment, and others. Right.
Yeah, the search and seizure, that's our Fourth Amendment, which has really been under attack ever since September 11th. And in 2007, as a matter of fact, as I talk about in my book, one of our most prestigious institutions, which is Harvard University, did a study, and they concluded that airport security is a fraud, is a scam, that it doesn't work. But this is all to condition us to allow ourselves to be search and seizure rights, to waive them. So, yeah, the Bush administration, the Obama administration, you can talk to any congressman, and they really do not understand the idea of the United States, as most Americans don't understand the idea of the United States. The United States is supposed to operate like this, Reginald. In this country, people are supposed to be free. Men and women are supposed to be free. And this is why once upon a time you had the right to carry your firearm on your hip without no problem. And some states still respect this. But this country is supposed to operate where the country doesn't get involved with any citizen unless that citizen causes injury or causes harm or violates someone else's rights. So this country really was supposed to basically set up our court system and set up a military to protect us from foreign invasion. And then any other projects outside of that, then they can impose a tax to get the project rolling. But once the project is done with, that's it. That's the end of the tax. That's how the United States is supposed to operate. So, of course, George Bush is going to say that the Constitution is just a G.O.D., like you said, piece of paper, because he's not operating under that. You have to understand that our government is illegitimate. It really has no rights. It's a tyrannical government right now set up in the United States, and the people don't even know it. The people don't even understand that they're slaves. The people don't understand that the fact that you're paying property rights, that's nothing but a feudal system. And you know that in this country, that was one of the biggest things. See, this country was fought for tax purposes. The Founding Fathers fought the revolution because of a tax. Benjamin Franklin admitted that in his diaries and in his books. So we know why they fought the revolution. Yet the United States is taxed more than any other country, maybe besides England. So how did that happen? Well, that happened because, like I said, this country was overthrown. Now, when it was overthrown, you can argue and debate that. Personally, I think it was right before the passing of the Federal Reserve Act, or right around that time.
Woodrow Wilson time.
This government is illegitimate. I'm sorry, say it again?
Woodrow Wilson time.
Yes, during the Woodrow Wilson time with the passing of the Federal Reserve Act and the 16th Amendment and so forth. But Americans are taxed up the wazoo, and we complain about it, but we don't do anything about it because we think that that's the government. Well, the government does this, or, well, the government, without us stopping to think, wait a minute, we need to put an end to this.
Up here in Canada, we have gun control. We think we have universal health care, but it's nothing more than an illusion. I interviewed a gentleman recently on an online radio program. His name is Tim Morley, and he is actually, at this time, he has a hole in his heart. He's a Canadian. He lives in Surrey, just a little bit out of Vancouver. And what's happening is the government is covering up the sickness, and he had to go to the United States to get the test done. So up here in Canada, we are nothing more than sheeple. We were controlled by a few people, and we're being exploited. Our natural resources are being extorted, and everything else. But with that question, I'd like to get into, you wanted to talk briefly about what's going on at the Gulf in regards to that oil spill at this time?
Right. Well, yeah, people keep asking me, what's your take on that? What do you think about that? What's going to happen? Did they do it on purpose? Was it a mistake? And the reality is that we don't know if it was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake. I mean, personally, me, I tend to believe that mistakes like that rarely happen, that when a big mistake like that happens, it's purposely. And you know that with this whole green thing, the push on, greenhouse gases and everybody's going green, well, I don't know if you're aware of the Climate Gate.
Yep.
Climate Gate, where the top scientists that were behind the push for that,
Someone hacked into basically get a whole bunch of email addresses?
Exactly. Well, yes, exactly. And they got a hold of the conversations between scientists talking about how it's a fraud and how we need to censor this scientist and censor that scientist and not cut his funding off because he was talking against global warming. Well, I think that a lot of people caught privy to that. And a lot of other countries started disagreeing with the cap and trade and taxing, how much energy you're spending or the miles in your car and yada, yada, yada. So I think that this might serve as a pretext to sort of reinvent that and possibly go a different way and say, well, because of this spill and this oil, now it's no longer humans causing it, but we still have a big problem with global warming because of the oil and now, or some other environmental issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be global warming, but they really want to push this global environmental issue because they know that that'll unite the people under one roof and that'll allow them to go forward with whatever they need to do. The same thing as September 11th. People who would never have volunteered to get searched without a warrant or, get stripped down in the security at the airport, then agreed to it after 9/11, all in the name of fighting terror and uniting. I don't know if you are familiar with a lot of the news articles that came out after 9/11, but, you had a lot of people coming on air and talking about how we were united to fight this enemy and this and that. Well, they want to create an enemy that's global. What better enemy than, let's say, the Earth? Oh, we have to protect the Earth. So I think that this is possibly part of that.
And also, I'm someone that I think the war on terrorism is nothing but a hoax. I think it's a modern day, going after one religion after another, and it's further imprisoning the people with these draconian, out-of-date laws, just as you're saying. You take a look at the airport right now, they're having these body scanners, they're installed in different airports now. So what you're seeing is nothing more than 1984 coming to reality.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that book is so on point with most of the stuff that has happened. I mean, look, the war on terror, and I talk about this in my book. I mean, that even if you believe the war on terror is real.
Which book is that one, Jose?
It's the war on terror, Scene 2, Volume 2, the war on terror fraud. It's if you have the fraud of the fraud, it starts on Chapter 5. But, like I said there, even if you believe that the war on terror is real, any person on the street, even if you believe that it's real, I mean, to give up your rights to be protected from an attack, I mean, there's a better chance that you could get struck by lightning or die in a car wreck. You understand? And I put all this information and do the math in that book so that you can see that it's just a hoax, that it's a tremendous hoax. Wired magazine is a science magazine that's published here in the United States, and in there, I believe it was a 2007 issue. They stated, and I posted it in the book as well, where they said that your appendix is more likely to kill you than Al-Qaeda is. So why in the heck would anyone give up their rights to be protected from something that could kill them or something that has a less chance of killing them than their appendix does?